Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the TLA podcast. Today, we're diving into something that shapes almost every decision we make: media influence and critical thinking. Let me start with a simple question. When was the last time you formed an opinion and later realized it wasn't entirely your own?
That's uncomfortable already, but honestly, it happens more often than we admit. We like to believe we think independently, yet most of the information we consume comes prepackaged, framed, and emotionally charged.
Exactly. News headlines, social media posts, short videos, they rarely just present facts, they present perspectives. And the perspective often shapes the emotion before we even analyze the content.
Yes, and emotion is powerful. If a headline makes you angry, you're more likely to react than to reflect. That reaction is quick. Critical thinking is slower.
What fascinates me is how algorithms quietly influence what we see. If you engage with a certain topic, the platform feeds you more of it. Over time, your feed starts to look like confirmation of your existing beliefs.
Which creates the illusion that everyone agrees with me. But in reality, you're just seeing a filtered version of the world. That can strengthen opinions without ever challenging them.
And when opinions aren't challenged, they feel stronger than they actually are.
Another interesting point is how speed has changed media. Information travels instantly now. There's pressure to respond immediately, but critical thinking requires pause.
Yes, and pausing feels almost unnatural today. We scroll, we react, we comment. Rarely do we stop and ask, where did this information come from?
Or what might be missing.
There's also the issue of framing. The same event can be described in two completely different ways depending on the language used. One word can change the tone entirely.
Absolutely. Words like crisis, threat, or historic carry emotional weight. They influence how we interpret events before we even look at the details.
And once an emotional frame is set, it's hard to remove it.
What concerns me most is how easily misinformation spreads. Not always intentionally. Sometimes people share things because they sound convincing or dramatic.
Yes, and repetition makes ideas feel true. Even if something isn't accurate, hearing it multiple times creates familiarity, and familiarity feels like credibility.
That's a powerful psychological effect, and most of us are not trained to notice it.
So, what does critical thinking actually mean in this context? It's not about distrusting everything, it's about asking better questions.
Like asking, who benefits from this message? Or, is this source reliable? Or even, am I reacting emotionally right now?
That last question is especially important. Emotional awareness is part of critical thinking.
I've noticed that when I strongly agree with something immediately, that's when I need to pause. Strong agreement can be just as blinding as strong disagreement.
That's such a good point. If something confirms our beliefs perfectly, we rarely question it, but that's exactly when we should.
Critical thinking isn't comfortable. It requires uncertainty, and humans don't naturally enjoy uncertainty.
Another layer is how media shapes identity. The content we consume often reflects who we think we are, politically, socially, culturally.
Yes, and when information challenges identity, it feels personal. That's why debates online escalate so quickly. People defend their identity, not just their opinion.
Which makes calm discussion almost rare.
I also think media influences our perception of success and happiness. Constant exposure to curated lives creates unrealistic comparisons.
We see highlights, not context, achievements without struggle, success without process.
And without critical thinking, we internalize those images as standards.
So maybe critical thinking isn't just about analyzing news, it's about protecting mental clarity. Yes, it's about deciding what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Attention is limited, and media competes aggressively for it.
There's a quiet power in choosing not to react immediately, in reading beyond the headline, in checking a second source, or even in saying, I don't have enough information to form an opinion yet. That sentence alone is a sign of intellectual maturity.
We often associate intelligence with having strong opinions, but sometimes intelligence is about holding space for complexity.
Yes, understanding that most issues are not purely black and white. Media often simplifies reality because simplicity spreads faster.
But reality is rarely simple.
If you're listening right now, try noticing something. The next time you feel an immediate emotional reaction to a piece of content, pause. Ask yourself why.
Ask what perspective might be missing. Ask who created the message and for what purpose.
That small pause is the beginning of critical thinking.
Media influence is not inherently negative. It informs, connects, and educates. But without awareness, it can quietly shape beliefs without consent.
Critical thinking isn't about becoming cynical, it's about becoming conscious. Conscious of how information enters your mind, and conscious of how you choose to respond.
In a world full of noise, clarity is powerful, and clarity begins with questions, not loud reactions.
But thoughtful reflection. Thanks for spending this time thinking with us. We're really glad you are here.
Stay curious and think critically. See you next time on the TLA podcast.